Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Eliki's Music Official. Today we are diving into the world of Ableton Live, specifically focusing on the technicalities that you need to know if you want to start using loops. So without wasting my time, let's dive right into it. First thing first, let's talk about what you need. Make sure you've got Ableton Live installed on your computer. I'm using Ableton Live 11, but most of these techniques that I'm going to show you will work in the earlier versions too. You also need some audio loops. If you don't have any, don't worry. I have a Telegram channel called Gospel Loops Hub. Gospel Loops Hub. Join it now. It's free and enjoy unlimited access to premium loops. Alright, when you open Ableton Live, you will see two main views here, the arrangement view and the session view. But for looping purposes, you'll be focused on the session view, which is fantastic for live performances. So you can toggle with this button here. There is the arrangement view and there's the session view. Inside the session view, you have audio tracks and MIDI tracks. If you are someone who uses MIDI loops, like your loops are in MIDI format, you will need MIDI tracks. If you are someone who play loops in audio format, in that case, you will need these audio tracks. You can add more, either the MIDI or the audio tracks. So if I right click on this empty space that I see here, I can insert audio track. I can also insert MIDI track. And inside the MIDI tracks, you can see there are small rectangle spaces in here. We call that one clip slot. So I can load a loops in here, load another one here, another here. Okay. So if I right click and I say insert scene, it add more of the rectangles here. Without wasting my time, let's see how we can bring in our loops on board. But before that, let me show you some quick settings that I need to do before we progress. Come to options here, go to preferences and move to record audio warp. You see this category, click on that one and make sure audio warp long samples, you turn it off. All right, just do that for me and close it. Now let's go to our browser option. Here's the browser option. We're going to load loops into the clip slot. Now I'm going to teach you how you can bring your loops library directly into Ableton Live. So if you see this add folder, click on it. It's going to take you to your file explorer where you have a folder containing your loops. Right now, mine is located at my desktop drive, music, loops. So this is my loops folder. And I say select folder just like that. It's going to bring my whole folder containing all my loops inside Ableton Live. So I can just surf through them, okay? All right, so these are loops. They are longer enough. But I have this kind of loops under the new loops folder. They are just 1 bar, 2 bar loops, okay? But Ableton is powerful in such a way that it automatically loops your audio clip for it to play unlimited. Okay, so for instance, this loop that you see here, this is like a Sebrempong I Own You Love. Let me bring it here and see. So if I hit on play, let's listen to it. Wow, so you can see clearly at this point that this loop that they are seeing is a 4 bar loop. They have written it here. You can see it here. And at this 3 that you are seeing here means it has played 3 times. Okay, so listen. So it will play for a longer period of time. It just loops itself. You understand? I can also go ahead and bring more loops maybe onto this clip slot. So let's say I have this loops here as well. Now see if I have loops. Let's bring it here and see. All right, so with that, we can load multiple kind of loops onto these separate scenes. We can add more scenes. So there is also a loop. I can even choose to drop it at this empty space and it's going to automatically create a clip slot for me. You see that? And at this point, you can also reduce the tempo if you want to. You can do that manually yourself, okay? But I know that all my loops have their tempo attached to it. So this is 120, and I know that automatically, okay? All right, there's one feature in Ableton, that's the tap tempo. That's a very nice feature in Ableton that allows you to track your singer. This tap tool that you see here allows you to manually sync your loops for it to be in time with the singer, although he has gone before you. Wow, so how does this work? Using your mouse to click on it is a waste of time. Ableton Live is so powerful that you can assign your MIDI keyboard or your external typing keyboard to it so that you can trigger any of your keys and it will function as the tap key. So if I right click on the tap button, I can say if I'm using MIDI keyboard, then I'll choose edit MIDI map. If I'm using my typing keyboard, then I'll choose edit key map. Then I hit on that. In this case, I'm going to use my C on the typing keyboard. So as I press my C, you can see key C, and you see it here. I have to do just click on this key here, then I'm good to go. So anytime I press my C note, it is function as a tap tempo button. Okay, so listen, 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2. So this is a very powerful tool that allows you to track your singer, although he has gone before you. At this point, let me teach you how you can create a template for your sessions with organized loops in it. Let's assume you are going to a program that you may need to have your worship loops, your reggae loop, your high life, and your praises loop. How do you go about organizing these stuffs in Ableton Live? It's that simple. Right click on this empty space here and it sets new audio track. You understand? So let's extend it a little and the master track to extend it. All right. Now let's say we want to add our worship loop first. So let me load this Eternity loop here. Okay. So let me bring it on this clip slot. When you load it, just you can see this beneath session here. Just bring it up. The first thing you have to do is just click on the warp and unwarp it again and make sure it is set to loop. The project tempo of this loop that I'm using is 120 BPM and you can see it has been detected here. This is what you're about to do. Let's come to the master track, then right click on this. Since this scene aligns to this one, right click on it and rename it with your loop's name, the eldest song. Then you continue with your tempo of your loops, then add your time signature 4/4. So we have renamed everything so quick. The eldest song 120 BPM 4/4. So and so, just like that. You can see these boxes that 100 so and so. This is the tempo. So you can just right click on it, left click on it, and type your tempo. That's 120. Just like that, you are good to go. So we have set this loop to 120 BPM. Now, this audio track that we've brought on this board, we can call it, maybe we can rename this. First, this is the header. This is the header. You can just right click on it and rename it as maybe Saturday Wedding Gig Loops Arrangement. Okay, so arrangement, something like that. So when you open your Ableton Live template for your loops, you know that this let me right click and set to a new color. You know that. So whenever you open your Ableton Live template that you use for your loops, you know that this for so and so day, and this my organized stuffs in it. You understand? So this is our worship loops. The next thing we're going to load, for instance, a reggae loop here. So I'll just bring it on board just like that. Click on it, come to the down section here, warp and unwarp it. Okay, so warp and unwarp. Make sure the warp is on. Set the loop. The project tempo is accurately set to 144 BPM. Come to your master, change your tempo to 144. All right, then rename this track with the loop name. For instance, I Own You Love, with the tempo 144 BPM and the time signature 44 loops. Okay, just like that. So if you hit on play, listen. Okay, so we have our reggae loop here as well. We can go ahead and also add more loops. This time around, I'm adding a high life loop here. Team Eternity, Afro Praise loops. Let's bring it on board. Okay, so this loop, just click on it. Always swap and unwarp it. Make sure the loop is set and check the tempo whether it's correct. It's 100 BPM. Then come to your master and type in your tempo and set your time signature. So right click and rename it Afro Praise. Then the tempo 100 beat per minute. Okay, plus your time signature 44, just like that. So if you hit on play, all right, let's say we have our praises loops here. There is hot praise 130 BPM. So just bring that on board. Okay, hot praise loops. The tempo is 130. So just come to the master scene, rename, and say hot praise 130 BPM 44 signature. Then you come here and set your tempo 130 BPM, just like that. So click on it. So warp and unwarp it. Okay, so warp it and change the tempo to 130. Make sure it's set to loop. Okay, so listen to it. All right, so this is basically how I've organized my stuff here, and I can go ahead and color all these stuffs so I can have something clean. So let me choose a color for each of these stuffs. Okay, something like this. And I'm thinking of even assigning these scenes to a key on your typing keyboard. Okay, so just click on this key here. Let's say we want to set it to 1. So if I set it to 1, anytime I click on the 1 on my typing keyboard, I trigger this loops. Okay, I don't have to stress myself with my mouse. So anytime I hit on the 1, it starts playing. Okay, so that's the simplicity of it. And if I want to pause it, I hit on the space bar. And anytime I want to play the I Own You Love, I'll just select it and click on this key icon that you see here and type 2, just like that. And I click on the 2. So if I click on 2, it automatically starts playing for me. And 1 is at the song. So if I want to play the Afro Praise, I'll just select it, click on the key, and press my 3 on the keyboard. It's being assigned to rate. Okay, then hit on the 3. Good. And my hot praise, I'll select it, hit on the key, and hit on 4. Okay, then hit on the key back. So if I press 1, 2, you can see my mouse is here. If I press 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's that simple. If I want to use the tap feature, I'll just press on the C and it will work magically for me. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so if I play the other loop, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that simple. Okay, so this is basically how to create your loops organized in Ableton Live. So you need to save this template for future reference. Now click on this file and maybe save live set as, I can choose my location. Wow, save as a copy. So I can choose my location and call it my loops arrangement. Okay, and save it. Anytime you can recall it and use it. So I hope this video helps you a lot. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share the video to your fellow musicians, and let's meet later.